Welcome into the show today. You get a double dose of Minnesota Tim on this Friday afternoon or wherever you're listening to this or watching this show today. Thank you for tuning in. Hit that subscribe button right there. And thank you for making this podcast a part of your day and for going on this incredible journey with me. I received an email earlier today saying that the podcast has reached over 200,000 listens / downloads. So thank you for making that possible. And thank you for making this podcast a part of your day. A couple of stories I want to get to today. One, I want to tell you why the Minnesota Vikings are one of the luckiest teams in the NFL. So that's coming up shortly. But there's another story that's a nationwide story that I want to react to. And it's a combination of an NFL story and an NBA story. So following the Christmas Day matchup between the Warriors and Lakers, LeBron James did his post-game interview with Lisa Salters. And during this post-game interview, LeBron James has the audacity to say, I love the NFL, but Christmas is our day. Okay. He says that quote. I turn towards my wife and I say, you know what? The NFL is going to pummel the NBA in ratings today on Netflix. And the NFL, Chiefs dominated the Steelers. The Ravens manhandled the Texans. 2 blowout games. And then it was revealed. And it says this on ESPN.com. LeBron James and the NBA should move over and make room for the NFL on Christmas. That shouldn't be a problem. Both leagues were winners on Wednesday. Netflix set records as the most streamed NFL games in U.S. history, while the NBA had its best holiday numbers in 5 years, according to Nielsen. So the NBA has its best numbers in 5 years. Take a look at this. The NFL and Nielsen said 65 million U.S. viewers tuned in for at least 1 minute of one of the 2 NFL games. The NBA's 5-game slate averaged about 5.25 million viewers per game across ABC, ESPN, and its platforms, according to the league and Nielsen. So what this is telling you, and they must have changed this article because when I read the article the first day, it said that the NFL had 5 times the number as the NBA. And that's about 5 times the number. The NBA's 5-game slate averaged 5.25 million. The NFL and Nielsen says 65 million U.S. viewers watched at least 1 minute of the 2 NFL games. 65 million to 5.25 million. The NFL is king, and it will always be king in the sports world. Whatever day, hour the NFL wants, it has. If it goes overseas, play an 8:30 game, it gets that number. If it's playing on Christmas Day, it's going to take out any sport, anywhere, any day that tries to compete with it. And what bothers me most about LeBron James in the NBA right now is that the ratings have tanked. They're down 28%. I'm less interested than I've ever been watching an NBA game. And it's not just because the Timberwolves are bad. The product stinks. And what's so funny about it is that everyone says that, the ratings, the streams, it's different. How can you calculate how many people watch? And this is the NBA defending itself when the ratings numbers were down 28%. And then as soon as they go up, and have their best numbers in 5 years. You know what the NBA is all about? We had our best day in 5 years. Oh, no, we're going to keep that on the on the bottom low. We're going to be very quiet, the ratings, and so hard to track, and it's not the same. Everyone, YouTube TV and Hulu and those things are becoming, I have YouTube TV, but those things are not as popular as they used to be. YouTube TV was $34.99 when it first came out. We just got an email 2 weeks ago that said YouTube TV is going up to $82.99 per month. It's about cable, maybe even worse, because you have to flip and it takes a few buttons to go between the streaming apps, which doesn't bother me, but it bothers a lot of people. So the fact that the NBA is so quiet and is so insecure about their ratings and has all these excuses about streaming platforms, but as soon as they have one good day, it's our best year in 5 years. Take a look at these ratings. So I just wanted to talk about that first. All right, my second big topic of the day, and this is the one you're tuning in for. The Minnesota Vikings have been one of the luckiest teams in the NFL this season. And it's none other than the injury report heading into this Green Bay Packers game. And before I go any further, I'm not going to apologize for the Minnesota Vikings being one of the luckiest teams in the NFL this year. It happens to every single good team every year. Health is a major factor of why every single team every single year wins a Super Bowl. So there's no reason for us to apologize about the Minnesota Vikings and their health this year. We don't have to be sorry. We don't have to feel bad. We don't have to be insecure. But the facts are facts, and the Minnesota Vikings have been one of the healthiest teams in the NFL this season. There's a tweet by Kevin Seifert that I'm about to pull up. It says this: "We'll see what Kevin O'Connell has to say later this afternoon, but the Vikings seem to have a decent chance of going into Sunday's game in near full health. Ivan Pace Jr., hamstring, and Harrison Smith, foot, were both once again at practice today." You look at the Detroit Lions situation, and they have, 13, 14, 15 players on injured reserve. On their defense alone, I think their offense has remained relatively healthy throughout the season. But you take a look at their defense, and it's a shell of their original team that was on the field week one. And the Minnesota Vikings basically have everybody ready to go in this game besides Ivan Pace Jr. being questionable, which just came out, and Christian Darrisaw, who went down with a torn ACL versus the Los Angeles Rams. Jefferson's been healthy for most of the year, every game, all year. Darnold's been dinged up, but hasn't missed any time. He just missed significant injury a few times when he banged his finger against one of those helmets, and he's been wearing one of those braces on his pinky during practice and during warmups. That shows you just how close he was to a significant injury. Addison was down early a few games, came back. It's been healthy ever since. Hockenson was out last year at the end of the year, came back in week 6 or week 7. It's been healthy all year. The offensive line has remained relatively intact besides Christian Darrisaw, and they replaced him with a solid left tackle option, Cam Robinson. And defensively, Smith, Gilmore, Griffin. Sure, these guys missed a game or two. Blake Cashman missed a game or two. But there have been no long-standing injuries on the Minnesota Vikings this year. And that's been a major factor of why they've been so good and so consistent. And like I said earlier, we don't need to apologize for it. We don't have to feel bad about it. But it's not like, maybe the Vikings have the best training staff in the NFL. They probably do deserve a lot of credit for that. But you can't heal up a torn ACL or a ruptured Achilles or a broken collarbone. There's nothing you can do about that. Sure, you have a great training facility and a doctors and medical care team and whatever. But at some point in time, there's a lot of luck that has to be considered because you don't go to a training room and get a torn ACL repaired overnight and get back on the football field the next day. The injuries that have amounted on the Minnesota Vikings this season, besides one, have been very short term, and the players have been able to come back very quickly. And that's a huge reason why the team is 13-2 right now, in control of their own destiny, with a chance of being the number 1 seed in the NFC. When everyone predicted the Minnesota Vikings to miss the playoffs, besides a few, random Joe Schmoes here and random John Does over there. So it's been an incredible year. I'm not going to apologize for the incredible year, but we also have to be cognizant in realizing that the Minnesota Vikings have been one of the luckiest teams in the NFL this season, because nobody has sustained a long-term injury besides one player. It's not like you're the Lions and you got 13 guys out. The defense is healthy. They're ready to go against Green Bay and against Detroit. So it's been awesome. Darnold hasn't missed a game. He's missed a few snaps, but he hasn't missed a game. And, if Darnold goes down, season's over. Nick Mullins is not saving the team. Daniel Jones, he might not even be ready. So the fact that Darnold has stayed healthy all year, with the shots that he's taken, with the amount of hits that he's had, I think the team is like third in most sacks during this NFL season, behind Caleb Williams. So you think about those numbers and you think about that fact, and it's like, wow. The Minnesota Vikings have been very fortunate and very blessed that no player has been injured. Almost like a little special. Feels like a special season. And it's had the ingredients all season long of being a special season. Thank you for watching this episode, and thanks for going on this journey with me.